Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me has always been a contentious film for Twin Peaks fans. In 1992, people were expecting something that would follow up the crazy cliffhanger of the final episode of Twin Peaks. Yet, David Lynch chose to make a quasi-prequel about the last 7 days of Laura Palmer's life. But I think this was an amazing idea, and this is possibly the greatest thing that ever came out of Twin Peaks. There were scenes in this film that legitimately disturbed me, which is rare. The atmosphere is spooky and it cuts deep. I love the tonal choices in the film. They create a stark contrast with its television counterpart. The show is very quirky and humorous and soapy and mysterious, but due to the graphic nature of the events depicted in this part of the story, David Lynch knew he had to take it in a completely serious direction. This feels like a horror film. To me, it is a horror film. Even though this film primarily takes place before the first 2 seasons of the show, it 100% must be watched after them. And then the 3rd season has to be watched last. I guess I can see how some people wouldn't like it. The film certainly would feel disjointed on its own, so I think it must be viewed as part of the series in release order. There's nothing wrong with that. I imagine this condition probably led to its mixed response at the time. The line, "We live inside a dream," provides you with all you need to know. So what if you can't watch the film on its own? That's not why it was made. The show is incredible anyway, so you shouldn't have any trouble consuming it prior to watching this. Cheryl Lee is absolutely phenomenal in this film as Laura Palmer. Her brief appearance in the show already endeared her to me a lot. You have to be talented to do that with such little screen time, but here she fully realizes the character in such a short span of time. Her anguish, her fear, her empathy, her trauma, her isolation, it's all just in Cheryl Lee's face. This is honestly one of my favorite performances of all time. It's Oscar-worthy, severely underrated. I really wish that Cheryl Lee had a bigger career, because her performance is so intense in this movie, but yet so layered. She's likable, she's shocking, she's scary. I just think that she's absolutely incredible in this film. And honestly, if we'd never gotten Twin Peaks Season 3, I'd still be happy with this being the film that was made as opposed to a follow-up and conclusion to the Season 2 cliffhanger. Purely because of Cheryl Lee's performance, we deserved to see Laura Palmer's character be developed. The whole show springboards off of her death. It only makes sense that we actually get to learn about who she was. I love Lara Flynn Boyle as Donna in the show, and I must admit on my first viewing, I was very upset that she didn't return for this film, but Moira Kelly really works. Moira doesn't copy Lara, she goes with her gut and provides a different perspective. If I'm totally honest, I think she actually fits the character better for this point in the story, and I've grown to appreciate her with subsequent viewings. I admit that some of the jumping around can be jarring and odd. On a first viewing, the beginning sequence with Cooper and Bowie is a bit off-putting, but if you just let it take you and you surrender, let yourself become immersed, just like the show, it's rewarding. It really rewards you for paying attention and spending time with it. It is the art form at its peak. I don't think I've seen the themes portrayed in this film exhibited so truthfully and viscerally in much else. This is an art house film and it challenges your ideas of what the medium can do, and it really adds to the lore of Twin Peaks. It challenges your view of the show itself, and those risks absolutely pay off. If you haven't seen this film, you need to give it a watch. It's got beautiful cinematography, great performances, rich world building. It has to be watched sandwiched in between seasons 1, 2 and 3 of the show, which all should be watched as well. Honestly, I would see a 4th season of Twin Peaks. If you've seen season 3, then you know that I have no idea where they would take the story, but I have trust in David Lynch, and I would just love to live in more of this world. I love Twin Peaks, I love this film. It's so underrated. It's honestly one of my favorite films of all time.